Hello, I'm Sergeant First Class Lauren Curran, and I play the euphonium. The euphonium might sound like a strange word, but it means beautiful sound. The euphonium is a low brass instrument, basically a smaller version of the tuba. It does indeed have a beautiful sound and can play gorgeous singing melodies, as well as powerful brassy music. Like the other brass instruments, you play by buzzing your lips into the mouthpiece. When the mouthpiece is attached to the instrument, that vibration goes through the euphonium and makes this sound. The euphonium can play lovely lyrical music. The euphonium also makes a great solo instrument because we use blazing fingers to play fast, virtuosic music. And that's the euphonium.
Hello, I'm Chief Musician Bryce Edwards with the United States Navy Concert Band, and I'd like to take a few minutes to tell you why I love playing my euphonium. I started playing the euphonium in the 7th grade, and then I kept playing it a long time, and still playing it. I love playing the euphonium. We use pistons or rotors to change notes. I have pistons on mine. Sometimes there are 3 to 5 of each. I get to play beautiful melodies. And I get to play fast things too. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Byron Fulcher. I'm the principal trombonist of the Philharmonia Orchestra, which means every now and again I get to play this instrument, the euphonium, in the orchestra when required. Euphonium means sweet tones, and I think the reason it's called that is because the tubing gradually gets wider as the air progresses around the instrument, which means that the bell is quite big, and even down here the tubes are quite fat, and it makes this very round, velvety, warm sound. In the orchestra, the euphonium is generally called the tenor tuba, and it only emerged in the orchestra towards the end of the 19th century when it had been around for only a few decades. But composers obviously begun to hear it, maybe in the town band, in the brass band, or in the German band, and they picked certain instruments that they wanted to include in the orchestra. The euphonium, of course, initially had no original music, because it was a new instrument, so euphonium players would play solos that they'd borrowed, such as parlour songs or arrangements of opera arias or maybe folk tunes. I think the first concerto for euphonium was written quite early, but then nothing else for about 100 years until the 1970s. And one of the most significant pieces of repertoire there was the Joseph Horowitz concerto. So the sound on the euphonium is created the same as all other brass instruments by buzzing the lips into this, the mouthpiece, which is connected to the instrument, and this agitates the vibration of the air through the instrument. So when playing all brass instruments, it's always a good idea to take the maximum air in you can all the time. The euphonium, compared to the trombone or the trumpet, because the pipe gets wider, the resistance in the instrument is less, so it takes a lot more air, so the air disappears much more quickly. So it's even more important to take the maximum all the time. Like all brass instruments, the euphonium has a very usable middle range. Obviously, the very extreme high and very extreme low registers become a little more difficult to achieve, but nevertheless, the range is incredibly wide. The fundamental low B flat sounds like this, which is quite low, but there's still notes below that. So that's very low, that's down to a pedal C, and there would be limits to how rapid you could play passages in that area, but certainly long notes and loud notes, very usable. 3 octaves above pedal B flat is a high B flat. Above a high B flat, there's quite a bit more register, but again, it becomes the extreme of the instrument and therefore less useful. If I don't press any valves or move any slides, I get a range of notes just by manipulating this buzz of the lips. If I then press the middle valve, what I'm doing is introducing an extra bit of tubing. If I don't press any valves down, I'm not using any of this tubing that sits on this side here. So I can take these slides out, and it makes no difference if I don't press any valves. If I then press the second valve, the air would come out of here. So without it being connected, it sounds like this. Or the first valve, the air would come out of here. Obviously doesn't work, so I need these to complete the tube. If I press the second valve, if I press the first valve, I lower it by a tone. If I press both valves together, I'm introducing this bit and this bit, which... So, with the addition of 3 valves, we've got an instrument which is fully chromatic over quite a large range. So that's fully chromatic from that point. So these valves are called piston valves. When I press that down, it's pushing a little cylinder up and down its surround and opening and closing the holes to these pipes here. If I take the valve out, it's quite a complicated system of holes. It needs careful relocation, otherwise the holes in the cylinder don't match up with the slides. But when composers write for it in the orchestra, it's usually at times when it's featured as a particular sound, so either solo or in some of these excerpts I'm going to play just a little duet moment, and that's why it's included in the orchestra. American composer Stephen Foster wrote some songs in the early to mid part of the 19th century, and I think these might have been the sort of pieces that were initially played on the euphonium as solos.
Important information about the euphonium. It is a member of the brass family. It is the cousin of the trombone because it uses the same size mouthpiece. Most performance opportunities include bands, solos, brass bands, and chamber music. It's typically not a jazz band instrument, but commonly they can adapt to learn trombone in order to participate in jazz band. The sound is produced by buzzing the lips together with air support. Most families would obtain a euphonium through our school-owned instrument inventory. The ideal euphonium student is unique, artistic, and reliable. They would be unafraid to demonstrate things in front of others and have poised confidence. They would be friendly and often helpful to others, being a strong teammate in any type of group. They would have medium to full-sized lips. They would basically have an aligned jaw without a severe overbite or underbite. They would be able to buzz and blow at a medium speed with a steady airstream for an appropriate amount of time. They would have a good ear that can hear close differences between high and low notes and be able to sing or hum on pitch fairly well. As said before, most euphonium players would be obtaining their instrument through the school. If not, however, they would need an approved brand euphonium, either Yamaha, Bach, or Blessing. They would also have a Bach 6.5 AL or 5G mouthpiece. Valve oil, tuning slide grease, a mouthpiece cleaning brush, and a cleaning snake. These would all come in normally a care kit or maintenance kit for the instrument, along with a cleaning cloth. Some things to avoid when starting on euphonium as a beginner. Avoid obtaining a scary brand instrument from a non-music specialized online source or not from your school. Purchasing another brand or a used euphonium without consulting your band teacher first. Avoid beginning the instrument without first-hand instruction from your band teacher or approved low brass instructor. Avoid attempting to remove valves, oil the valves, or remove slides without being properly trained by your teacher. Avoid attempting to use any other care or cleaning supplies and tools without being supervised by your teacher. And avoid not willing to practice patiently a small chunk of time daily.